Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here. We are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Monday, November 7th slate of NBA action. I'm super excited to dive into it. I'm not going to waste any time here today. We got a lot to dive into. But before we did just want to go ahead and say we're still on the road to 8,000 subscribers. We're cutting straight to the chase today. If you guys are new, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do, and thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me, so much more than you guys will ever know. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into a quick recap as of yesterday, which would have been Sunday. We ended up going 0-2. If you guys kind of kept up with my Twitter, I know that one person did, but if you take a look at what my Twitter was, if you were like really keeping an eye on it, I did have technically 2 plays that I tweeted out as added plays, but one of them, we'll talk about it. We'll just get that one out of the way. We did have Jared Allen over 10.5 rebounds. That was one that I personally bet, and I had made it an official play to myself, obviously, but it was one that the lines didn't get put out until like 30 minutes before the game started, so I didn't really want to make that an official play because I didn't feel like very many people would see it. So I didn't want to make a play on something that not very many people would have had the chance to bet on. So I didn't officially make it a play. I won't count it on my record or anything like that. It is what it is. But then we did have Ja over 27.5 points. Finishes with just 23. The Wizards, they came back from a pretty commanding lead or a pretty commanding deficit, and they ended up making it close, and Ja had to stay in the game. It's just unfortunate. The shot attempts were there. He just had another rough night. I'm not sure. He's got to turn it around at some point, but, it is what it is. Then we had Toronto, first quarter versus the Bulls, first quarter money line. Almost every other quarter cashed. Even I had, joked about tweeting that I wanted to double down in the first half, but I didn't end up doing it. But seriously, it's been really bad. So with that being said, we're changing that around today. We are absolutely changing it around. I got the glasses. We're diving into this. We're going full. We're diving in head first. All right. We have 3 plays. Not only do we have 3 plays, we have a Monday Moneyline Parlay. We are absolutely going crazy today. This is going to be a masterclass of a Monday. Now, all 3 of these, I love them. Tremendous value. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I don't want to waste any time. So for our King's Kill Shot play of the day, Devin Booker over 26.5 points here versus Philadelphia at -115 odds. This is a 2-unit play for me. I love this play with a burning passion. If you take a look, he has not hit this over in 3 straight games. So not only is it just a good bet overall, it's a bounce back spot here for Devin Booker, who hasn't necessarily been the greatest. But in those games, even though he did not hit the over in points, he's still getting over 20 shot attempts in each of those games, and he just hasn't really been seeing them fall, and that's perfectly fine. We see that with NBA players all the time. Devin Booker is due for a bounce back. He's a great player. He's going to bounce back. There's no doubt about it. Also, over Booker's last 10 matchups versus Philadelphia, he is averaging 35.2 points per game. He has only not hit this over once. He has had 30-plus in almost every single game over his last 10 versus Philadelphia, averaging 35.2 points per game with mid-40% field goal percentages. Devin Booker has been absolutely fantastic versus the 76ers. And I truly don't think that's going to change. I think he has another huge day. The spread's only 1. It should be a very close game. Devin Booker is in a great spot here to be able to hit this over. Also, Philadelphia, they do allow the 13th most points per game in their last 3 games. So they have not necessarily been the greatest defensive team over the last 3 games. And also, they are 19th in defensive efficiency over the course of the season. But in their last 3 games, that drops all the way down to 24th. They are almost bottom 5 when it comes to defensive efficiency in their last 3 games. Since they have lost Harden, somehow the defense has looked way worse in Philadelphia. So I don't know. I think that Devin Booker has a really great spot to be able to hit this over. And Cam Johnson just suffered from a torn meniscus. Hopefully he does end up getting well soon. But with that being said, they're going to need more shots from Booker. That is taking away another shot creator for this Suns offense. And with that being said, Devin Booker is going to have to step up. Devin Booker is going to have a big night to be able to overcome this Philadelphia team, obviously with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, some other really good pieces as well. So I think it's a really good spot here to be taking the over. So this is our Kings Kill Shot play of the day, 2-unit play for me. Devin Booker over 26.5 points here versus Philadelphia at minus 115 odds. Now for our second play of the day, we're taking SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 38.5 points, rebounds, and assists versus Detroit at minus 110 odds. Fantastic spot, and once again, to be able to take the over. I think this is one of the most perfect lines ever. This line, it was between, I didn't know which one to do for my King's Kill Shot because I love both of them. But SGA has covered in 5 out of 8 games so far this year, and one of those losses that he did have was right on the hook. He's been very, very solid. He is coming off of a 22 PRA outing versus the Bucks, but we all know the Bucks are a very great defense, to be honest. Great defense, and I think it's a really great spot to bounce back because last year versus Detroit, in his one matchup versus Detroit last year, 30 points, 2 rebounds, and 13 assists here versus this Detroit team. Now, obviously, the team has changed a little bit, but I still think that he's going to be able to hit this pretty easily. Pistons also allow the most points per game. The most points per game in the entire NBA to opposing point guards. The second most rebounds per game to opposing point guards or just guards in general. And the 11th most assists per game to guards in the NBA. Great numbers. Great spot to hammer the over. Detroit also allows the 3rd most points per game to opposing teams in general. They give up a ton of points. Detroit, I know that they have a lot of great young pieces in there, but their defense is just not there yet, and I think it's a really good spot here. This should be a very close game. Both these teams are literally like cover kings. Both these teams are underdog cover kings. I really think it's a good spot. And Detroit also has the worst defensive efficiency in all of the NBA. Like I said, not a great defensive team whatsoever. I think it's a really great spot here to be taking SGA over. SGA is that guy. He's really just that guy. He's helped us cover with the Thunder multiple times, and I think it's just a really great spot. I think he's going to have another huge night. So that is going to be our second play of the day. SGA over 38.5 PRAs versus Detroit at minus 110 odds. Now for our third and final official play of the day, we're taking the Heat. Minus 7 here versus the Trailblazers at minus 110 odds. This is one of the biggest spreads that the Heat have seen all year, and it is truly for good reason. The Heat have been off to a very bad start so far this year, 2-8 against the spread so far in the year. But this team is way too good and way too well coached to continue being just mediocre or even in this case being bad. They've had a really bad start to the year, and I think they have to turn it around at some point. I think it's a good spot versus the Trailblazers because if you take a look at it, the Damian Lillard is still going to be out. Anthony Simons is listed as doubtful, and Josh Hart is listed as questionable. Those are 3 of their main guys on that team. I think that the Heat can get it done, despite the Heat being like a grit and grind, gritty team. Like to keep those games pretty close. I think they win pretty big here. Tyler Hero is listed as probable. He's listed as probable, so he should be in the lineup hopefully. And the Heat, they are coming off of a loss to the Pacers on the 4th. This is a tremendous bounce back spot to be traveling back home. They've had, at this point, 3 days of rest. They've had 3 days of rest. There's no excuse not to be able to get it done here versus the Trailblazers, and it's a great spot. I mean, the Trailblazers are banged up right now. There's no reason that this Heat team cannot get it done. So that is going to be our third and final official play of the day. Miami Heat minus 7 versus the Trailblazers at minus 110 odds. Now, we have our Monday Moneyline Parlay. Now, I like this one quite a bit. It's got tremendous value. It's a 5-leg parlay. You guys can do what you want with it, but this is what I'm going to be rocking. We're going to be putting a 1/5 unit on it, so I'm really excited about it. But let's go ahead and dive into the first leg. Obviously, Heat money line. Obviously, it's in my official plays. It's something that I think has a really good chance to hit, and it's just a very good opponent to be able to get a bounce back win against. The second leg, we have the Magic money line here versus the Rockets. Now, this one is just two very porous teams, but I like what I'm seeing in Orlando. Orlando is a very good basketball team. Well, they're a very good up-and-coming basketball team, I guess I should say. I like Franz Wagner a lot. I like Suggs. I love Wendell Carter Jr., obviously former Bull. And Paolo Banchero has been absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we sold the bag on him the other night. But still, with that being said, Magic, I like what I'm seeing over there in Orlando. There's no real reason for me not to like them, and I think that they get it done here versus the Rockets. Rockets are on a 6-game losing streak, and I think they extend that out to 7. The next leg, Suns money line here versus the 76ers. The Suns have owned the 76ers in their last 6 matchups. They are on a 6-game win streak versus the 76ers. I think they can push it to 7. I really do, especially with the way that Booker doesn't normally play against the 76ers. I think it's a really good spot. Next, we have our underdog play. Knicks money line here versus the Timberwolves. Both these teams have done really well against poor teams. They have kind of struggled against some of the better teams. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game kind of pans out. But I think it's a really good spot for the underdog because the Timberwolves are going to be without Rudy Gobert. That is going to take away a lot of interior defense for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think Julius Randle does have a pretty big night tonight. So I do really like that one. And then we have the Clippers money line versus the Cavs. Now, this one is because why? Why is the money line set to -110? It's literally a pick'em for a Cavs team that has been one of the best teams in the NBA, 8-1 against the spread so far on the year. And they 8-1 against the spread. They're on an 8-game winning streak, and they're only 1-point favorites versus a Clippers team that has been really disappointing. Why? I'm taking the Clippers here at home for our final leg. 5 legs plus 1,776 value Monday Moneyline Parlay. Let's go ahead and ride in. Let's go ahead and lock in. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and tuck us in. Clippers money line, tuck us in. But without any further ado, that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. I know I've been really bad here recently. I really can't figure it out. I'm giving you guys plenty of stats as to why these are good bets, and they're just not hitting. It's very, very unfortunate. But without any further ado, that's going to do it for me. This is King Center signing out. Peace.